I think another factor that we should touch on that's really important in investment and corporate banking is research. Like researching your client, the industry. I think you spoke about it earlier. Do you think confirmation bias affects how bankers evaluate deals? And confirmation bias, for those who don't know, is the focus on data that supports the desired outcome of a banker's particular decision rather than challenging it.
So there is a confirmation biasness, but given that we have so much data available now with the kind of guardrails that the government has built into, you're able to overcome that confirmation biasness. Earlier, what used to happen was there was no transparency. Now, even today, in today's world, there is a lot more transparency in the financial statements, a lot more transparency in the data that is being shared across various platforms. So that confirmation biasness has reduced to a large extent compared to earlier what it was there. That's number one. And number two, we believe that once you are interacting with a client on a regular basis, that data also gets revalidated with the communication and with the discussion that you have with the client, right? So you keep mining the data, you keep massaging the data to get to the real data, so that over a period of time, that confirmation biasness gets reduced.
Almost like a filter, like filtering out
Yeah.
the
So you
holes in
keep,
the data.
when you keep interacting with the client, you get more information and you correct the information that you have, and basis that you keep on analyzing the data and getting on to different solutions and prospects that you can provide to the client.
Awesome. And earlier you spoke about like the right balance between like risk and like maybe a safe decision in decision making. But I wanted to understand how you balance intuition versus data when making high stakes recommendations.
So, let me put it this way. So data is the underlying uh, framework on which you start some decision making, right? But intuition is something which you get over a period of time through experience, right? So if you have dealt with a particular industry, right? So you are very clearly aware about how the industry works. So for example, if you're in a renewable sector, just giving an example, right? So you know how the renewable sector behaves. So when you are doing some kind of a large deal with an underlying data, your intuition will really drive based on the knowledge that you have of that sector, and accordingly you'll take a decision, okay, and not standalone data. So I think intuition a is a factor of knowledge that you have about that particular industry, or that particular deal that you're talking about. And b, sometimes the risk taking ability also derives is also there from an intuition perspective. How risk taking ability, how big is your risk taking ability, whether you're confident that tomorrow if I take some decision with a client, and you're confident on the management of the client, right, and the ability of the client to pay, then you might be actually taking your intuitive decision to go large or big on the client. So today, from a data perspective, for example, I might just want to give him $50 million, but my intuition says that I should give him 75 million or $100 million, and I know the capacity of the client is there to repay me back, and there is an intention. Then I'll go with my intuition, given that the growth that I foresee in the country. So in the company, right? So the data and intuition go hand in hand, but that depends on what stage of the cycle are you in, right? What of the life cycle of your learning are you in? Where data has more importance, intuition has less importance. But as you become more and more advanced in your life cycle, your intuition and data kind of balances out.
So it's almost like intuition allows you to act upon data, but better if you have more intuition.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
understood. And I think the most sought after question for aspiring investment and corporate bankers from this podcast or interview would be, what is one psychological skill, how you spoke about empathy earlier, or maybe persuasiveness, that you think separates good bankers from great ones?
I've already spoken about that. I think empathy and relationship. The more networked you are in the banking field, right, the better banker you are compared to a good banker. So
Awesome.
networking is an important skill in banking. And the more people you know, the more value add you can bring on the table for the clients and for the bank as well. So I think networking,
Mhm.
empathy, and relationship.
Awesome. So that about wraps it up. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Just before we end, briefly, what is the most important lesson you learned in your career as an investment banker?
The more important messaging, I think, be disciplined and be persistent. I think these are the two most important things when you're looking at building any career in any field. And a very smart, indisciplined individual compared to a average disciplined individual, an average disciplined individual will grow consistently than a smart, indisciplined individual. So that is important according to me.
Awesome. That about wraps it up. Thank you so much for your time. I learned a lot about investment banking. Like, I dived more into investment banking. I think I had some surface level knowledge, but I dived so much deeper into it and understood how like deals work and what you use to sway the deals in your favor. So thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Nirvan, for having me on your podcast.